The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, I am the true vine. My Father is the vine grower. He takes away every branch in me that does not bear fruit, and every one that does, he prunes so that it bears more fruit. You are already pruned because of the word that I spoke to you. Remain in me as I remain in you. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit, because without me you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me will be thrown out like a branch and wither. People will gather them and throw them into a fire, and they will be burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask for whatever you want, and it will be done for you. By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Remain in me and I in you. Beautiful imagery our Lord gives us today, the vine and the branches. You might just call it communion, remaining in communion with Christ. Beautiful thing, what we all desire. So how do we do that? What's that look like? Well, we remain in communion with Christ when we remain in communion with his church, right? His church is his body here on earth. And that's a little bit more visible of how am I doing there? Where am I at in that? But aside from, how I do remain in communion, which the church gives us very clear guidelines. But the fact is, when we are in communion with the church and with Christ, it's safe haven, especially on kind of difficult matters. So here we see the infant church struggling with the issue of circumcision. Do new believers need to be circumcised or not? That was a big deal in the Old Testament. So where are we at? And so they think about it, they pray about it, and ultimately they come to the College of Bishops, the apostles, and they hammer it out. So we'll see that in the following readings of how they handled what's called the Council of Jerusalem. It's the first council of coming together. How do we deal with this? And they do. They deal with it. No, you don't have to be circumcised, is what they ultimately come to. But how they came to it was beautiful. The apostles deliberated through prayer and made an authoritative decision. Right? That scenario still goes on today in our College of Bishops, the magisterium today. So today we celebrate the feast of Pope John I, right? We have a pope today, Pope Francis. This ordering, this structuring of the church still goes on today. Super beautiful that we can have that assurance of not only our communion with Christ, but then, hey, this ship is going somewhere, and as long as I'm on it, I'm going to get to the other side, which is heaven. The other beauty of staying in communion with not only the church but with Christ is that, hey, we can ask for whatever we need. We have a direct line to God. So in our hearts, we sincerely bring our needs to the Lord, and he'll answer them according to his word. Might not look exactly like what we want, but when we have that communion, that assurance of our relationship with Christ and his church, our prayers are heard. So anyway, let's always strive for that, keep it on the forefront of our hearts and minds, and then just be at peace.